Okay. So who was on first, Stan or Jeanette?
I believe it was Stan.
Okay. So we're going to start with Stan today. So my first question always is going to be, how are the water and the breathing going?
They're going fine. I actually didn't have as much yesterday as I did the day before, but it's also because I didn't get any exercise. But
Wow.
still well over the half a gallon. So
You weren't breathing any less yesterday, though, were you?
say again?
You weren't breathing any less yesterday, were you?
No, I was breathing pretty much the whole day.
Okay, good. Good. That's always a good choice. Always a good choice.
Yeah, I woke up about 1 o'clock this morning and couldn't get back to sleep, so I'm not completely here.
Yeah, I completely understand that. Give me just a second. Dana says she can't get in. Let me give her the link.
You know, Stan, that happened to me too. I've been waking up.
Dwayne, you have a phone call, line 101.
Sorry.
Dwayne, 101, please.
What's been happening with you, Linda?
I've been waking up in the middle of the night and then I can't get back to sleep. And then I finally, a few hours later, I'll go to sleep and like, oh my God, it's 7 o'clock. That's not normal for me.
Yeah, that's definitely not so great. What'd you do for fruit this morning, Stan?
Excuse me. Wow, I still need more water. Apple. I need to get to the grocery store and get greater variety, and I was kind of planning to combine that with a trip to somewhere to ride the bicycle, but since that won't happen, I just have to make a trip to the grocery store.
Gotcha.
Because I don't have enough variety of fruit here.
Okay, so really just apple for today?
Yep.
How about your Alka-Geyser?
I remembered the cucumbers this time and forgot the ice. But I followed your trick of making 2 days worth in one go, and that is nice because it will be just. I mean, I didn't get around to it till 10 o'clock this morning.
Oh, fine.
I was a little curious to see what empty stomach hunger would feel like, and I'm not necessarily sure that I was feeling that, but I think I was by 9:30, 10 o'clock. But anyway, tomorrow I'll just reach in the fridge and grab the one that I made today and put away. So yeah, and I did it right side up this time instead of upside down. And forgetting the ice, I think, was not really a big issue. It was a little chunky, and maybe I should just blend it more. But I actually kind of like feeling little bits of stuff in it, so okay. I don't find the texture objectionable. I used a higher proportion of celery and a little more guacamole this time, I think.
Yeah, just keep experimenting with what you're putting in quantity wise, and remember you can do add-ins for things to change the flavor too, like parsley. I know you like that, and
that's a good reminder.
Yeah, parsley, dill. I do mint. I always do a bunch of lemon. Ginger's a good add-in. Any of those things can be a real benefit to change up the flavor, because you're gonna be doing this every day.
Right. I had actually two specific questions.
Sure.
One was, have you ever tried with broccoli?
Yes.
Because I like broccoli in general, but I'm sort of feeling it might make the Alka-Geyser bitter.
So what I wind up doing, and actually you've had it, because I did it when you were living with me.
Okay.
I use the stalks.
Just the stalks?
Yeah, because I eat the broccoli like for food, right? So
okay, well, yeah, I've been eating the stalks that way too, but yeah, that would make sense because they are definitely not as cabbagey as the flowers. So yeah.
So typically I put like about 2 inches worth in a full 2-day pitcher.
Okay, thanks. And then I think I know the answer to this one already, and that is, what about throwing in dried herbs for flavor?
Actually, it works pretty well. the flavor, like I do it with dill sometimes.
Mhm.
And I've done it with I've done it with parsley. What else did I do it with? I threw some turmeric in one time. I wasn't thrilled. I thought it made it a little bit bitter. But yeah, certainly experiment with different things. And, you know, as with anything, dried herbs are going to be more concentrated than fresh herbs. So think about
Right.
the quantities a little bit. Don't overdo yourself. And
I'm actually surprised the answer was a yes, because I thought the answer would be no, because they're processed.
well, except that they're not processed per se. They haven't been changed from their natural state, except that they have been dehydrated.
Gotcha. Okay.
As opposed-
Well,
as-
good. Then knowing that it's okay, I will experiment with that from time to time.
Cool.
I mean, for right now, I'm okay with just the fresh stuff because it's still new to me. But I suspect it may start to get a little old, and then it'll be nice to have that option.
Yeah, and as we get,
Basil would be good.
what's that?
I bet basil would be good.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I do fresh basil.
Yeah, that's what I would pull it out of the garden. Yep.
Yeah. In fact, I do basil and mint together, which is a pretty fun combination.
That would be good.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so try all those things. So what about your food dialogue over the past 24 hours?
I kind of don't get well. I kind of don't get much past the point of, well, Eric said I was supposed to still be eating the things that I was eating previously, and that sort of is a clinching argument. So there isn't much more dialogue going on. I have been trying to pay attention to how I feel after.
Mm-hmm. And
So one of the things that I was eating, not every week, but a couple times a month, was pizza. And you and I actually talked about why I can't eat pizza anymore. But I mean, in my mind. But I thought, okay, I should try something, because since that was a habitual food. So I bought a couple of flatbreads at Trader Joe's last time I was there, and ended up having one of those for supper last night. And it sort of, I mean, it first off, it tasted good, and I knew it would. And then, excuse me, I sort of felt guilty is maybe overstating it, but I guess feeling like, yeah, this is not really something I need in my life. And if you told me tomorrow I couldn't have it anymore, I wouldn't shed any tears. I don't know whether that's just willpower being fairly strong right now, in which case we can't count on it, or whether I really am transitioning into just, I really don't have a craving for that. But that was the first of two. I got two different kinds. So I'll see again how I feel after the second one. The other thing I tried was, and it was the same thing. After supper, I was watching TV, and I thought about the chocolate-covered caramels that were in the pantry. And it was the same deal. It's like, well, I mean, that's my go-to treat. And Eric said we were not supposed to cut anything out, so I went and got them. And how did I feel about it? They tasted fantastic. And I sort of felt like, well, I'm not sure that I really need this. But on the other hand, I also felt like if I just have them occasionally, it may not do me that much harm. There are like 15 of them in the package, and I've had 4.
I want you to binge on them.
Right. So that's it. I really need to kind of force the dialogue to happen. There is where I was going also.
Yeah, and not just the dialogue, but really binge on them and give yourself the opportunity to really see how that load of sugar feels afterwards, especially.
Okay.
And notice whether or not,
Okay.
notice at the the beginning, when you have the thought to go get them, that already starts to trigger the feel good emotion, the dopamine rush that you're starting already. And then you get the...
Yeah, I know Eric said that, but I really wasn't conscious of it.
Yeah,
and maybe what I need to do is put more of a space between having the thought and acting on the thought to give that emotion a chance to emerge.
Yeah, and that might work better for you as well. And it's difficult for many of us, and for me. I mean, I had a lot of issues around the whole food dialogue thing when I went through this on my own 90-day challenge, because I still have a lot of difficulty recognizing my own emotions around anything, let alone food. So
Yeah, I do
really,
too.
so my suggestion is exaggerate it so that you really get the
Okay.
effect.
Okay.
Exaggerate a little more time between having the thought and acting on it, and exaggerating how much you're actually consuming this week, because I think that will help you to see the difference in how you're really feeling after the first bite. You know, is the second bite as good? Is the fifth bite as good? You know, or are you really done with it? And even if you think you're really done with it, keep eating it. Because then I really want you to notice an hour later, maybe 2 hours later. And remember back to Jeanette having gone to the Alabama Hills Cafe on Wednesday last week to get the cinnamon French toast and the shaky hands at lunchtime hours later. And then the other thing to point out about that incident was either the next day or the day after, Jeanette could not even remember having been there and done that. Which is really kind of an interesting thing, you know, from a psychological perspective. So no,
Sugar coma.
yeah, so you're doing great with that, absolutely great. And just keep that up. Just keep noticing. Try actually writing it down, because I think if you write down the food dialogue, so that could be part of the pause for you between having the thought and doing it, would be.
Okay.
And let's just play that, you know, you're saying your food devil is saying, I think a chocolate covered caramel would be good right now. And your food angel is saying, but you know, we really don't want to be eating that stuff. It's not really good for us. Yeah, but Eric said, and right now you're just stopping with Eric said.
Right.
So to give your food angel a chance to come back and say, yeah, but Eric's not really my best friend right now, or whatever that's going to be for you, you know? And that
Okay.
couple of minute pause before you actually go and get it might help to see what that is. Maybe.
Okay.
Cool.
All righty. Thanks.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you. So, Jeanette, what's going on with you today? Hello.
Doing good. Doing good. I like the Alkagizer. I think it
Cool.
tastes really good. I think so. I actually ordered a Vita mix last night.
Awesome.
Because I don't think my NutriBullet's going to handle what I'm doing. And what I did was I ended up getting mason jars and making 3 days in advance and just pouring it into 3 mason jars. It's airtight, and I have it in the fridge, so it's good to go for the next day. I can just pick up and go.
Cool.
So
You will likely need to stir it though.
yes, I stir it with my. I did that this morning. I had my second batch today,
Cool.
and I stirred it. Not a problem. Tasted just as good as it did yesterday. But the mason jars are airtight and real easy to take with me, and good to go. Yes.
When you made your Alkagizer for 3 days, are you using like the recipe? So that would be like 15 sticks of celery.
No.
Go ahead, Sally.
No, you go ahead first, Jeanette. What are you using?
So I actually had a ton of kale in my fridge,
Uh-huh.
so I substituted the celery for kale.
Oh, okay.
Because it said substitute for spinach. So I had spinach, I had kale, I didn't have celery, I had apples, and I only used, I think, 6 apples. No, I only used 4 apples.
Okay.
4 apples. I did use 2 avocados, and I used the kale that I had it and a whole cucumber. So it made a huge, I made a huge blender's worth. And I think I made like four large containers.
And so what size is large for you, Jeanette?
Well, let me see. I would say it would be 16 ounces.
So you're doing the pint size?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it pint?
Yeah, I think. Yes, 16 ounces in a pint.
Okay,
sorry.
yes, it's a pint. I thought it's a quart.
No, a quart's 32.
32. So it's I would say based on this, that was 16 ounces.
Okay, cool. So that's a good quantity to start with. Because you're enjoying it, there is no reason not to turn that into a 2-day batch.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, frankly, that's what I do. I do a whole blender full, a whole, Vitamix full, and that's 2 days for me. And, if you started off by saying you hate it, work up to it, but you don't. So It's a lot of good nutrition getting in there. And you might want to catch the replay from yesterday because we talked a lot about some other substitutions and stuff that you can make. Just kind of, maybe grab a piece of that. But you can substitute whatever greens you want, which is going to be important to Dana since she's allergic to spinach. And spinach is what is actually in the recipe. But there are lots of other greens that you can use, and it's all fine. So cool. How about your water?
Water's doing good. I have to set a timer to remember to breathe.
I saw that.
So I will say that, I missed yesterday, and I am sorry about that. The smoke is just really, really pretty awful, and I have a bad reaction to it. But when I watched day one of Eric's presentation, I actually had to stop because I was freaking laughing so hard. He nailed my dialogue. And I was just dying laughing, going, this guy, and I'm gonna have to do some research. Is he a psychologist? Because he's gotten into my noodle. So I was laughing so hard, so I had to go back and re-listen to it again, which I'm trying to do on all of them. Listen to the morning and then listen to before I go to bed at night, because there's just too much freaking information in it. But I just laughed because it was my dialogue verbatim. And then today when he said, write it down and hashtag it, I went, so that's how he figured out what other people have thought the same thing, hashtagged it, and that's how it got into my mind. But it really did crack me up. I think the one thing though that I've learned from like this weekend that I've been paying more attention to is when I eat dinner, because I get caught up at work and I'm very task oriented, and so I'll go home when my work is done so I can breathe, and that's how I've handled it. And I'm not doing that anymore. Now I go home, I have dinner with my son. We had barbecue chicken that he made, or buffalo chicken with Brussels sprouts, grilled tomatoes, and asparagus.
Right.
There's something else. But anyway, so I'm paying attention to eating earlier as well.
Cool. Do you have issues with like after dinner eating? Is that a thing for you?
Nope.
Okay. Are you having any issues at this point in terms of thinking you don't want to have something that you had previously been having?
I can't think of anything other than wine, but that's something that I know Stan had said that he kind of got into that habit of drinking a glass of wine, and I kind of made a mental commitment when I turned 51 not to have wine anymore, just as a personal commitment. Yeah, my birthday.
When is your birthday?
It was August 29th. So it was just like 2 weeks ago or something.
So you've got time.
Oh, yeah.
See you at Veritas. Yeah, because I know when your birthday was because I saw it actually. So 2021. No wine is your choice.
No wine. That's my choice.
Okay, cool. What kind of dialogue stuff's going on for you?
So this morning I woke up and my dialogue was, I'm so stoked that I have something already made in the fridge so I can get moving. And so I stirred my Alka-Geyser, which I'm having a problem remembering. I have to look at it. Alka-Geyser, stirred it and went out the door. And I actually had the thought, man, I should have made a bigger serving because I'm not gonna have time to eat more fruit. But I packed my lunch before I went to bed last night. Another new thing. Normally I pack my lunch in the morning, then I get too busy or I start getting those phone calls, and then I'll pick something up for lunch. I'll pick something up. I'm right near the grocery store. I'll get a salad, which I don't. And so, I end up getting like a Subway or something nasty. But I packed my lunch. I got a sweet potato in there. I've got tomatoes, and I packed a sandwich because the sandwich is what I typically eat.
And yes, we want you to still be eating that and noticing how you feel about it when you're done, especially. Right. And notice even before you take that first bite of the sandwich, what's the anticipation there in terms of what you're coming up with to eat and whether or not it's still serving you in the way that it served you previously. And then eat it anyway for this week. Eat it anyway. Cool. Did you have any specific questions that you need to have addressed at this point, or are you feeling pretty good?
Weird one.
Yes.
When I put my cucumber in, I kept the skins on it.
Yeah.
Is everybody else keeping the skins?
I do.
How about the apple? Do you guys just put the whole apple in?
Yep, keep it all.
Okay, so I couldn't do that with my.
I cut it up, but the full apple goes in. Yeah.
Okay, so my NutriBullet struggled with that. The struggle was real, so I didn't get the apple seeds. So I'm going, and I think it's just because I had too much stuff. We actually had a small explosion in the kitchen, but that's okay. That's okay.
That's okay.
But but I think that's why I got the Vitamix, because I do know that the seed has a lot of nutrition in it.
So while you're waiting for the Vitamix, actually remove the seeds from the apple, because they don't get completely ground up. And as weird as it is, they actually contain a small amount of cyanide.
Yep.
So, it's fine in the Vitamix because they're completely pulverized. But if the Nutripol, it's not completely pulverizing it, you probably want to pull the seeds out before you.
Okay.
But the skins are absolutely fine. Same thing when I put lemon in. I just put the lemon in, skin, pulp, seeds, everything. I just quarter lemons and drop in pieces. It's awesome. I don't peel anything. I mean, a lot of times all of the nutrients, many of the nutrients are actually in the skins and the peels rather than the flesh itself. So cool.
Yeah, my son will eat a kiwi with the skin on, and it's always made me nuts. But he's like, Mom, it is a super fruit, and the skin is excellent fiber. And that is his actual voice.
But it has a weird mouth feel to it.
It is, but you know what? You get used to it. In a smoothie, it gives a little zing in the back of your throat because you feel the hairs every once in a while, and then you feel the zing from the kiwi. But you get used to it after a while.
Well, I think in a smoothie it would be fine. I'm not sure I'd want to just chop up a kiwi with skin on and eat it.
Yeah, no, he does. He just eats like an apple.
I may have to practice that. Cool. Well, it sounds like you're doing well. Excellent. Good job. Linda.
Hello.
Water, breathing.
Water is great. Drinking lots of water all the time. Breathing definitely has been good. I don't do it first thing in the morning, but I do it before the meditation. Do it after, do it during. And what I found myself now doing more of is breathing through my nose at night and finding my tongue relaxed right at the tip of my teeth. So that's been good. The fruit this morning is, what did I have? I had a watermelon, cantaloupe, and mango.
Nice variety.
Yeah, it was. And I sprinkled it with my fresh lime juice. But this time I made myself a bigger helping just to see if I really wanted more. Do I want to eat it all? Am I stuffing my face? How I'm feeling? And what I found is I could not finish it. I had had enough. Totally satisfied. And then went and grabbed my shake, went out to my workout room, did that, drinking my shake while I was doing that.
Your shake or the Alka-Geyser?
Oh, the Alka-Geyser.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So that's been good. But then I said, oh, God dang it. Now I got to eat breakfast. And there's no room left, but I have to eat breakfast, right? So I had a piece of ham and I had a couple egg whites. And that is that. I don't think I could eat for the rest of the day the way I feel right now.
Yeah, but you need to.
Pardon me?
But you need to.
I know. The dialogue, it goes well. I'm enjoying my evil part of me. Let's see, there's vanilla wafers in there, Linda. Why don't you try one? I don't want one. Oh, but they're sitting there and Jake's not going to eat them all. Go ahead, grab a handful. It would be great with your wine tonight. It's like, I don't want any, So I really noticed that a lot.
And then did you go get them?
Oh, I took a couple, yeah.
Okay, good. And
Yeah,
how'd you feel about that after you did?
They're horrible. It's like, oh my God, these are gross. Why did I even do it? So no. So that little devil right there was pushing me. I did do a test. Ever since I was a child, I love black licorice. I've loved it. And I used to treat myself from time to time for one. So I thought, I think I'm going to treat myself. And so I did notice that first bite. Oh my God. It was an organic black licorice. It was so chewy, so packed with flavor. It was great. About the third or fourth bite, that strength of the flavor diminished quite a bit. And it wasn't as good, nearly as good. And so then I stuffed my face, right? So that's that. So I finished it.
Did you notice anything after the fact?
No, that's just it. I did not. I need to read the back next time and see what all the ingredients are.
And how big a piece are we talking about?
Oh, it's about this big.
And just like, you know, a little bit around, or?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you may not, that may not be enough in and of itself to really cause a big reaction, because your nutrition has been pretty good overall anyway.
Right.
Whereas, you know, as I suggested with Stan, eat more to get that feeling, to really find out what that sugar rush feeling after the fact is like for you. It might be worth trying.
As you know, my husband has been doing this with me when he can. He was out hunting for the whole weekend, so of course he didn't do it. But he came home and I had everything all ready for him this morning. He ate his fruit, thoroughly enjoyed it, drank the alkalizer, and then he said, "Oh my God, I got the worst stomach ache ever." He goes, "I don't have 45 minutes in the morning to sit on the pot." He goes, "I don't know what to do." You know, and I said, I told him what you told me, you know, of course you're going through detox, but is there something that we can do? Because he really doesn't have that time in the morning. He's got to get up, do his chores, and get out.
Set the alarm earlier for the next few days.
He gets up at 2:30, Sally.
That's pretty early.
That's pretty early.
That's pretty early.
Yeah, it's pretty early.
The reality is that this will pass pretty quickly. It won't. This is, remember in, I think it was yesterday's video when Eric talks about you may be having interesting bathroom experiences.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so this is what that is. I mean, this is an interesting bathroom experience, but it really does pass pretty quickly. And the fact that he's having that reaction that quickly, so like he didn't ease into it at all, right? He just went straight in, on, no buffer zone for him because he was gone all weekend.
Right.
So yeah, so he's getting the full force of it. And I mean, compared to your nutrition level, has he been a fan of green smoothies, for example? Does he do it every day? Yeah, so this is new for him, and it's hitting him much harder than it would for you under the same circumstances. But tell him really, if he can, just to suck it up for a few more days, and it really will pass.
Okay, I'll let him know that.
It really will.
Okay, that's good to know. And let me see if there's anything else.
And Linda, hang on, if it doesn't, you know, if he's continuing to have the same reaction by the end of the week, then have him scale back and do about half of the quantity of Alka-Geyser to begin with.
Okay.
And as he's getting used to it, but I think he's right on track, and he'll pass pretty quick.
I kind of told him that. I go, I've been doing this for a very long time. I said, so my body's used to it. I go, just think of all those toxins you got rid of this morning.
Yeah.
It didn't go over well, but anyway. One of the key things that that stood out for me in today's video was Food Devil, Food Angel, but the voices, right?
Mm-hmm.
Notice how they play in all areas of your life. Now, I know we do that, and Dana and I have worked on our inner child, but it's so important because we'll have this dialogue with ourselves all day long about everything. And so really paying attention to the food point part of it will really bring a higher level of awareness. It's like, what's going on here, Linda? You know, catch yourself going into that rabbit hole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, this is one of the things that I found, and many of our WildFit clients have found from doing this, is that, you know, this starts off as being basically what people look at as a nutrition program, but it really does become transformational in many different aspects of your life because of the greater awareness that you gain through listening to the voices and then noticing the voices, which, you know, we've learned as adults to just completely shudder in our heads. We don't pay attention to it. So getting that awareness is really big, really big. Good observation. Cool. Well, it sounds like you're right on track and doing well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dana. Hey there.
Morning.
How are you?
Good afternoon. We are so smoky here, it's just unreal.
We are too.
They're evacuating 3 more towns.
Yeah. Dana sent me pictures this morning. She's worse than we are. but maybe not as bad as you are, Linda.
It's pretty bad here. Dana, what towns have been evacuated?
They've evacuated Lyons, Mill City, Scioto, Gates, and they just started evacuating Staten, Sublimity, and Almsville.
Wow.
geez.
Not easy.
How are you doing there?
I woke up hacking this morning.
Yeah.
It's purely brown. I'll send you the photos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nasty.
Now we can't even see. We had light on one side of my house and none on the rest. Now there isn't any. It's just orange.
Wow.
And Dana's in Oregon, right?
Right.
And
Salem.
Linda, where are you at?
I'm in Northern California.
Okay. What part of Northern California?
I'm about an hour west of Sacramento in the foothills.
Yeah, because I have a lot of family up there and they've been posting about fires. And then I have a fire over here in Yucaipa. I don't know if you guys saw that one. It was
Yeah.
started because of people that were wanting to do a gender reveal party.
Idiots.
A what?
Started it all.
Yep.
Gender reveal.
I hope they go to prison.
I hope so.
Sorry.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But it's the same here. Like we've had ash on the car every day and
Yeah.
it's ugly.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
just ridiculous.
Well,
We live.
Kind of claustrophobic in a way, being in the dark like this, and yellow moons and yellow suns. And I've been hacking too.
yeah, I'm starting to get it as well. And I heard on the news this morning that in California, we've burned over 2 million acres already, which is a record. We've never burned that much before.
Mhm.
And
Well, most of our fires started last night. We had 100-mile-an-hour winds coming down the gorge from the east to the west, which is backwards.
Mhm.
Jeez.
And it knocked down all kinds of power lines. They shut down power on purpose up towards Mount Hood because they didn't want more forest fires up in there because they can't get them out. And but everywhere else where it knocked down power lines, it started fires. And I mean, they're everywhere.
You starting to sound like California.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I've never seen it like this here.
So, Dana, I'm guessing based on your text a while ago that you are not caught up yet, which is fine. We'll work on that.
Well, I've watched almost all the videos from the discussions, but I've only watched 2 of the videos from WildFit.
Okay.
They were in my spam.
Okay, good. So got that part figured out. So how are you doing on your water intake? I know that's typically pretty good for you, but.
Water intake's been good. I've been trying to increase it on top of it. So I always start my day with a glass this size.
Uh-huh.
And so now I started with 2.
Cool.
And I usually wake up in the middle of the night and I drink 1 too. So I actually stay pretty hydrated. I didn't go to the gym today. It's too smoky to work out, which is my normal morning. But other than that, this is my 4th glass of water so far this morning.
Good. So, and what about breathing exercises? Are you?
I've been doing those when I get up and at noon and in the evening.
Good. Excellent. And have you figured out Alka-Geyser yet, or are you too far behind for that?
I'm too far behind for that, but I should be there by the end of the day. I have a couple more meetings today and don't know if I'll be on next Monday because they moved a meeting that's normally at 1:30 because it's a KW nationwide meeting.
Mhm.
So if we get off in time, I'll be on. If we don't, I won't.
What time did they move it till?
11:30 to 12:30.
Okay.
No, to 1. It's an hour and a half.
Yeah. So you may or may not get back in time, but worst case you can catch the replay. So
yep.
Let me just bring you up to speed a little bit on ideally where you should be morning wise right now. So like tomorrow morning, what we'd like to have you doing is, start with your water and 2 to 3 pieces of fruit, preferably a variety. And that's first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. And then the next thing would be the Alka-Geyser, which is the green smoothie. You will need to make some adjustments in the recipe because the basic recipe for greens calls for spinach. I know that doesn't work for you. Don't kill me with an Alka-Geyser.
But I can have cilantro and you can't.
That's cool. Fair enough. So you can put cilantro in yours if you want to. But you can use any kind of greens that you want. You can use lettuce, you can use kale, you can use bok choy, I don't care what. And so I think you'll really enjoy it once you get into that. And then at this point, we're having the Alka-Geyser mild, which includes apple. But eventually we'll be switching to the Alka-Geyser prime, which doesn't include any fruit at all. So the basic concept is 2 to 3 pieces of fruit first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. You never want to combine fruit with anything else, and you never want to cook fruit. Okay, those are like really important points. And you can have your Alka-Geyser either with or after your fruit. But once you have switched to concentrated foods, like if you have eggs or whatever else you're having for breakfast, don't go back to having any more fruit. You're done with fruit for the day as soon as you start eating, solid food, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'll have to figure that out. I always eat an egg and an apple for breakfast.
Yeah, so you'll be eating your apple first and eating your egg later. And the other part of this is that we're adding stuff in this week, but we don't want you taking anything out. So what we want you doing is paying attention to what that food dialogue is, and you've had some examples of that so far today. So, and ideally writing it down, because I know that writing it down makes it that much more real.
Yep.
Than just listening to it. So yeah, and I think you'll probably be up to speed by tomorrow, which will be good, because that'll give you time to be ready for the next transition when we add enhancements for next week. So the other thing that happens, just FYI, in terms of shopping ability, is we tell you what the enhancements are on Friday, but then you're in the buffer zone from Friday night until Sunday. So you can choose to do the enhancements over the weekend. You can just choose to do part of them if you want to, and not all of them. But it gives you that option so that you can play around with it. And really, they designed it that way after the first couple of groups complained because people were going to the grocery store on the weekend, and then they'd find out what the enhancements are on Monday, and they didn't have the right food at that point. So you get the option over the weekend to decide what you want to do with the buffer zone. All of it, part of it, none of it, and there are no wrong answers. It's whatever you want to do. It's all good. But it does give you the opportunity to be able to do some shopping over the weekend if you need to do that. So cool. Sounds like you're on the right track. Thanks for playing full out. And I know you've had a lot of catching up to do, so I appreciate the hard work there. Cool.
And quick question, Dana, is that wine behind you?
Is what?
Is that
Yes.
wine behind you?
It is.
It is.
Can we come help you drink it
Sure.
before it gets cut out? If it does? Oh,
I have fortunately had the experience of helping Dana drink her wine. And yes, that is a wall of wine behind her.
And it's really
great.
good wine.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's my
All
fruit.
right. So Sandra, you're up. How's the water going for you?
Water is going okay. Still at 5. Alka-Geyser, not so bad.
Good.
I only added 1 apple, so not too bad to me. I did add lemon to it, so that made it tastier for me.
Cool.
It's crazy though how full you feel. I can't force myself to eat anything else. So, because yesterday I did have I had 2 plums, and I believe it was a nectarine. And then I had my Alka-Geyser, and I just felt so full. It's crazy. I couldn't shove anything else down. Might be TMI, but those interesting bathroom experiences have hit me, and
Good.
it's been good. Just because for me, normally you're gonna go, once a day is that's great. As part of like my MS and all those issues I have, so I have to take Senna every night, anyways. So yesterday that was a plus. But yeah, so the Alka-Geyser not so bad for me. Yesterday I did have a conversation in my head with the angel and the devil. I decided to eat my leftovers from the weekend. I had Cheesecake Factory.
Okay.
It did make me feel really bad. Like
Yay!
afterwards, I felt so bad. I was just like so miserable for the rest of the day. And I was like, ugh. I didn't want to eat dinner, but I forced myself to eat dinner. And yeah, so I'm like, yeah, it's crazy because now you start to realize it. And you're like, oh gosh, I don't feel good. And so that was a conversation I had with myself yesterday. This morning, well, to be honest, I don't get up as early as you guys do, which I need to change. So that's why it's hard for me because, don't judge me, but I got up around 11 today.
We don't judge. We don't judge.
And so I know I'm trying to change my schedule. The thing is, with it being so hot, I don't get stuff done until late. Go to bed till 1, and then these last 2 nights I've been having trouble sleeping. So I wake up in the middle of the night, and then I'm like, unfortunately, I know this is not good, but I put my phone on and watch TV to fall asleep again. So I haven't been sleeping that great. But anyways, I did put myself to bed at 11 last night because I wanted to try to get up earlier to see if that would change things for me, because I know like I can't have lunch for a little bit. It's gonna be a while because so I'm gonna work on that as well, getting myself on a normal schedule.
So let me ask you a couple of questions, because I know you're not working right now. When you were working, what was your schedule like?
I used to get up at 7, or not, 6:45.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you know how to do it. You've just had kind of a slip while you're not working. And I'll tell you one of the things, and this is just for me, but for me, I get up typically between 4:30 and 5. And I get a ton of stuff done early in the morning before it gets hot.
Yeah.
And what my discovery is, it is much easier for me to do that, to get it done before it gets hot, than it is to wait for it to cool down in the evening.
Yeah, and you know what's also hard for me is getting up in the morning. I'm like, I could sleep. I mean, it's part of my MS also because, you know, I have extreme fatigue. Doesn't matter what I take, what I do. And so this morning, you know, again, I was like, I don't feel like getting up, but I know I should. And it was funny because, yeah, after I had my fruit and my, you know, Alka-Tizer, I was like, oh, I'm awake now. Like, I feel better. Because it's like, you know, I'm like, well, technically it's been a long time since I've eaten anything. So, yeah, you don't have energy, right? So, yeah. So, Alka-Tizer, like I said, is good. I might try to put another apple in this week while we can. To sweeten it up.
You don't know what's coming yet. You don't know what
I know, Mom. I'm scared.
So seriously, when you say you're scared, what's the first thought that comes to mind that has you a little concerned?
You know what I think for me, it's this is bad, but the wine and getting rid of the wine, and also I need recipes.
Mm-hmm.
I am not good about, you know, cooking, unfortunately. And also just need recipes so that I learn to include more vegetables in my diet. So like I picked up radishes because I love radishes.
Mm-hmm.
So I can add that to something. So, and I love anything with lemon, so just put some lemon on that. I have the avocados for the drink and for the side. I made beans yesterday. I didn't fry. I do pinto beans.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I didn't fry them. I just cooked them in the Instapot, and then I you know, mashed them in the Instapot just to make like my refried beans without the oil. And so that's what I like last night for dinner. That's what I had was that. But I did put it on a tortilla. And I did put some avocado. So, you know, but yeah, so I just need to, you know, come up with more ideas on recipe making, coming up with how to make vegetables tastier.
Yeah. And what's interesting about that is, to me, I don't think I know any vegetables that I don't really like at this point. Some vegetables I like prepared in certain ways better than in other ways. So for example, I love radishes, and I'll throw radishes in salad. I eat radishes with pink Himalayan rock salt. Well, I dip them in pink Himalayan rock salt because I really love salty radishes. But some time ago, I got a bunch of radishes and I sauteed them because I don't think I'd ever had cooked radishes before.
Oh, wait, what did you say you saw?
I sauteed them. So.
Oh. I thought you said you saw something. I was like, what? And at first I was going to play along and just be like, okay.
Yeah.
No,
No,
you
so,
grill a lot of vegetables, so if you want to try them grilled, they're really good. With
Yeah.
a little bit of olive oil and char them on the outside, but still crisp on the inside.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, because for me,
little
it's the
baby
texture.
broccolis. Brussels sprouts are super good that way.
Yeah, and I had some good Chinese food this weekend. It had some good broccoli in there. Well, that was delicious. I also had some bell pepper in my pasta. So that was not bad. But yes, and that reminds me, because you know what, I need to find I have like a grilling pan, or like, you know, the flat ones that you put on, it's like a cast iron grill you can put on your stove. And that reminds me, I should go and get that out of storage, so that way I could try, you know, just grilling the vegetables that way.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good plan. And when we reach the point that you're really afraid of, that we actually start taking things away, then I'll start giving you recipes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Kitty wants to say hi.
Hi, Kitty. Hi, Kitty. How many do you have? I've only seen 2 here so far.
You don't want to know. I take care of the neighborhood's cats.
Ah, gotcha. So yeah, so right now, what we want you doing is eating the way you've always eaten, except for adding in the fruit and the alkalizer and the water and the breathing and paying attention to the dialogues. So I don't want to like start giving you a bunch of recipes right now, because you'll start changing things, and I don't want you changing things at this point. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool.
And then are we okay? I know that there was a note from Eric. Drink the alkalizer again throughout the day?
You can drink the alkalizer prime anytime you want after you've had solid food. But the alkalizer mild, which is the one with the apple, you should only drink before you've had solid food. So once you've had solid food, if you want to have another alkalizer, you need to do it without the apple. Okay. And how's your NutriBullet working out with that?
It's fine, but I didn't try to leave the seed in. So, and like I said, I just did 1 apple, but it seemed like it made a lot. You know, that I know we're talking about, like, you know, if you're gonna prepare batches ahead of time. And today was great because yesterday I didn't have it prepared, so it did take me a while to get my juice going and all that jazz. So today it was a lot easier. Just pulled it out of the fridge.
Yep.
But the batch that I made, I don't know if it's because I added some water or what, but it was enough. But that was just with the one recipe, like the 5 stalks and all that jazz. So am I supposed to be adding more?
It's up to you. So I use the recipe with about 28, as they give it, I use that with about 28 ounces of water, and I just keep throwing in greens until I've completely filled my big pitcher, my big container. And for me, that's 2 days, but it makes about 2 quart jars.
Yeah, because I was like, this is a lot.
Yeah, and so I do it with a fair amount of water because I don't like it super chunky. I don't like it fibery. I like a little more liquid to it.
Yeah, and I added ice to it today. And I know that from the video, Eric was talking about trying to keep it in your mouth a little bit longer and do a little chewing. So I did try to do that as well today.
Cool. Good job. Well, it sounds like everybody's definitely on the right track, which is super. And I really appreciate everybody, playing full out, because this is not, it's not like your typical diet. It's not what everybody's used to. So it is completely different from what you're used to doing. So again, if you get halfway through a plate and you're thinking you really don't want any more, if you would have normally finished that plate full of food, finish it. And yes, you will feel horrible. Good. That's what we're going for right now. We really want you paying attention to the dialogues, and ideally write it down, read it back to yourself using voices, and it really is helpful if you post those dialogues in the Facebook group as well, because your dialogue is also going to be helpful to other people. And keeping in mind what happens in the Facebook group, what happens here is all confidential. It doesn't go out to anybody else. So it's just between us chickens here. And it sounds like pretty much everybody is starting to notice, first of all, your thirst hunger should be pretty much gone at this point. You may still have a little bit of it, Sandra, yet, because you're not quite all the way up there. So just try adding like even another sip or two of water each day, and that'll get you up to your 8 glasses a whole lot faster. And you're going to find that's going to be really important for you as we move forward even more. And then, nutritional hunger should be starting to quiet down as well.
All right, and one question.
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt. Just like right now, like I feel so full. That's why I'm having a hard time like getting more water down.
Mm-hmm.
So is that normal?
Yep.
You're still supposed to force yourself to drink.
Yep.
Okay.
Sally, I have a question too.
Sure.
Is it normal, like after you have the fruit and Alka-Geyser, to get a feeling of extreme tiredness or nauseated?
Yeah, for right now, it's not abnormal, because part of what you're doing is you're putting in a pretty big sugar load with the fruit. And so you get that initial rush, and then you'll get the sugar crash still right now. How many apples are you putting in your Alka-Geyser?
None.
Okay, so you're doing Alka-Geyser Prime.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're good with that. Yeah, this is probably more fruit than you're used to eating at a time.
Yes, it is at one time.
Yeah. So that's not a surprise that you're feeling tired afterwards. And part of that, about how long afterwards?
Well, I had it this morning, then I worked out, and then around 10:30, it's like, oh goodness, I just got up and I'm ready for a nap.
Yeah, so you may be processing the fruit apparently much more slowly than Ken is. Because typically fruit will run through your system in about 30 minutes or so. And that's why you get the interesting bathroom experience. But you may be processing it a bit more slowly. How soon after finishing the fruit did you have your coffee with milk?
It was after. Yeah, it was a bit after.
What's a bit
Probably
after?
around 9:30, 10.
So what is that? Half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, time-wise?
Oh, probably, see. I'd say about an hour and a half.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that the milk in the coffee wasn't interfering with the fruit processing itself, and it sounds like
yeah.
that should be enough time for that to be okay.
I was just wondering if, because I drink the Alka-Geyser right after, if
Yeah, and
they-
that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
And one more question. Sorry to interrupt.
Nope, you're good.
Is it okay to eat 3 pieces of fruit, the same ones, or should we change it up so that your 3 pieces are different?
Ideally, you're looking for as much variety as you can get both in fruit and vegetables at this point. So, I mean, if all you have is 3 pieces of the same kind of fruit, then that's what you're going to do. But if you can get some variety, that's better. And have fun with it. I mean, like one of the things when I was doing my 90-day challenge and Eric started saying, eat 3 different kinds of fruit, go experiment. I got dragon fruit, I got star fruit, I had never eaten mangoes. I got like all kinds of different stuff, and I was experimenting with it all the time and having a lot of fun with it. So yeah, as much variety as you can get, and trying different stuff is cool.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, you're good. You don't need to apologize at all. So yeah, so I think overall, today's video was relatively short. And one of the things that I'm really glad that I'm not hearing from you guys is, oh, I hate the Alka-Geyser, because I actually made the note about Eric's comment in the video, which is it may not be your favorite thing, but it's your body's favorite thing, So sounds like you guys are all on board with that. And that's just great. And we are coming up about 5 minutes away from our time. So let's just check back in. Anybody else have any other questions we haven't addressed today? Stan?
Just a quick specific one. What about carrots in the Alka-Geyser?
Sure. Absolutely. Okay. You will see the color change.
Right.
So just be prepared for that.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just thinking about maybe a more interesting taste. Plus, I have some carrots I have to use up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay, so it doesn't all have to be green. It could be any color vegetable that we can add to it.
Yeah, and I'll mention that corn is not a vegetable.
I'm not going to do that. Okay.
Corn's a grain. Yeah. So you want at least some quantity of leafy green stuff of some kind, lettuce or kale or spinach or whatever. But you can mix up any of the other vegetables any way you want to. You're looking for kind of basically that relative quantity of stuff from the original recipe. And the avocado is fairly important for a couple of different reasons. One of them is that it adds some smoothness to your smoothie. And the other is that it's a really good high quality fat, which is important for a number of different things that we won't talk about specifically right now. I want to back up to your refried beans for a moment though, Sandra. You said that you just kind of mashed them up in the Instant Pot and didn't add any oil. One of the things to keep in mind is oil is actually good for you. Fat is good for you. And so adding fat is not bad as long as you're adding good quality fat. So
it would be good quality.
Yeah, so you're looking for things like olive oil, avocado oil, walnut oil, that kind of stuff, macadamia nut oil, but you want to stay away from things like canola oil, rapeseed, any of the vegetable oils. They're all incredibly highly processed, and anything that says hydrogenated on it, oh my goodness, please don't put it in your body. Just absolutely awful. So, but yeah, the good quality oils are actually good for you. And part of what you guys are going to love as we get further and further into this is the realization that there is absolutely no calorie counting and no food restriction in terms of quantity, because you will naturally be restricting what it is that you want to eat as time goes by. So, and I'll give you an example of that real quick. I had leftover steak from being out to dinner last Friday, and I was going to have that for my dinner last night. And it was only probably maybe 4 ounces, might have been only about 3 ounces of steak, which to me is not a big amount of steak because I'll chow down on, big old T-bone and call it good. Well, I used to do that. Apparently I can't do that anymore because I was like less than halfway through this piece of steak and I'm like, wow, I'm full. I really don't want any more. And since I'm not in my wild 90-day challenge, I can stop eating when I'm full. So I'll have somebody else say, no, just keep eating, just keep eating.
I have to laugh, Sally, because
yeah.
I'm so bloated right now. And I looked in the mirror and I had this tight shirt on. I put my hand over my stomach. I almost took a picture and said, look, 7 months pregnant.
I get it. And I just want you all to notice that I did put on a different shirt today so that I'm not wearing a green shirt on a green screen. If you guys haven't seen the replay from yesterday, I was wearing a green tank shirt. So literally you can see like the wheel of my truck through my shirt on my shoulder. It was bizarre. I have to remember never to wear a green shirt when I'm doing this, but yeah.
Kind of cool though.
Yeah, kind of interesting at least. It's something. So Jeanette, you good? Any closing thoughts?
Just that I'll be honest that I'm a little mad at myself for not realizing how much water and my food was affecting me. I'm a little pissed at myself actually.
You know what? I completely understand that. And
Yeah.
I'm going to encourage you to just let it go.
Oh yeah.
Because one of my favorite quotes, which is always attributed to Oprah Winfrey, but actually came from her mentor, is we do what we do when we know what we know. When we know better, we do better. So instead of being mad at yourself for that, congratulate yourself for where you're going.
That's probably a better way. The realization that, we're all so detail-oriented people that something as basic as water has escaped me is just astonishing. But well, yes, I know.
it hasn't been pointed out to us. It's not something that's been high on our radar in the way.
You
that-
know, what you'll find, Jeanette, is your natural thirst is going to start coming back, where
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, I want to drink water.
Yeah.
It'll become natural after a while.
So very cool. Dana, you feeling good? Questions?
I'm feeling good. I'm behind, but I'm good.
Good, good.
I know I'm not eating any more candy.
Keep eating whatever you would normally be eating right now. Don't
I
stop.
haven't had candy other than the one time camping
Uh-huh.
in 2 or 3 months. So it just totally made me sick.
Well, that's good. Sorry, but it is.
And it made me not want it anymore ever.
Well, let's hope that that's really true and it's not going to require willpower. If it crops up again until we tell you to stop eating candy, and we probably will on that one, keep eating it if it crops up again. So cool.
I don't want to do that again.
Hey, I want to thank you guys for being here. Everybody's doing great. Thanks so much for playing full out. And I will see you tomorrow back here again. Can't wait to hear
Have a
what-
good day, everybody.
You guys
Thank
too.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.